Anyway, we're still breaking down that Remington 700 that we were in previous videos. Today, we're going to read this prompt, and I'm going to teach you guys how to break down how to negate the weapon itself and have you know that you're shooting bad and you need to look at self-improvement. So, we're going to look at your trigger discipline, your breath control, your stances, and the manner in which you're holding the weapon to make sure that, as Nathan Foster said, recommended for removing the rifle as a variable that might be causing your accuracy problems. Consider the amount of testing, setup, and variations involved in accurizing and how well do you think his prescribed methods of removing the rifle as a variable, what other variables might also contribute to issues with accuracy. Anyway, let me minimize this, and we're going to discuss your trigger discipline, or the manner in which you're controlling your trigger, how you're squeezing it, if you're pulling it, if you're yanking it, and what results on a matter of fact of which joint or position you're using on your finger will in turn affect the impact of those rounds downrange. Well, we're going to be using this shape as our diagram of a target. Alright, so I'm going to put a circle roughly. I'm going to back that up because my apologies, I messed that up and I did not double click on that shape. We're going to put this little guy right here. Cool. Alright, our job today is to be shooting birdhouses. Alright, so with that trigger and with your finger, which I'm going to do a rough drawing of your nose picker right here, you're going to have a joint about right here, and you're going to have a joint about right here. And then you're going to have your hand roughly right there. Cool. So, adding a fingernail so that way it doesn't look like a phallus. Now, your main goal is to rest that trigger, aka the squeezy bit that makes the gun go bang, within this region right here. That will prevent your finger from flexing on the trigger, because if you use your most upward joint of your finger, you're going to experience impacts. If you are a right-handed shooter, unlike myself, you're going to experience impacts on your target that favor the right of your target. Then, if you use your left portion, you will be experiencing impacts more to the left of your target. So you're going to experience groups just on the outside, because those small micro movements that you do to slightly change and differ the angle of the muzzle of the weapon to where you are is going to be a more extreme effect more downrange, such as if I put this X right here and I draw this line. The X in this case is our target, and the place of that reticle to where my mouse cursor is to where I am attempting to engage that X. If I do a slight angle this way, it creates a larger differ in that angle. If I create a slight movement, it's going to increase it the opposite way. Same thing for your X, Y, and Z axes of your weapon. Now, also, you want to have a slow, controlled, steady squeeze of that trigger. If you're sitting there like you're some thug on the block in the middle of a rap video, or some of those found footage to where you see people holding like their AKs sideways and they're just trying to rip those rounds out of their weapon as fast as possible, those slight jerks are just going to wiggle that weapon around, and then you're just going to experience patterns that are just all over the place, and you are not going to have the ability to actually hit your target. Alright, so let me readjust my equipment here. Let's choose the color green. Alright, now let's go with my brush. So after you have that, and you're using those slow, steady squeezes to where when the weapon fires, you should be slightly surprised. I know that seems off, because it's like you definitely should know the condition of your weapon, you definitely should know when your weapon is firing, but that exact moment to where that trigger trips to allow your hammer or striker to engage those primers to fire those rounds should be having a semi-clear zone, so that way your weapon is pointed where you are intended to point it. All right, then if we go back to my million tabs, we're gonna have breath control. All right, so if I create a wave right here, which hopefully I can adjust it. Let me completely correct myself here because I don't know how to operate computers. I turn wrench and shoot gun. All right, so you have your body's natural resting point. All right, so I'm just going to freehand this line. I said I was going to freehand this line. My apologies. I am experiencing technical difficulties. So we're going to be inhaling, 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 exhaling, 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 inhaling, 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 exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. So the best time to shoot will be at your body's natural point of rest, which would be at the lowest peak of your exhale. So you're going there. That is your proper point. That is to where your expansion or contraction of your lungs are not to the extreme. It's not putting any more fatigue on your chest cavity, on your muscles or anything. That is the medium point to which your body can accurately have the ability to engage. That'll prevent your muzzle from deciding to do something wonky, as in this green line, this will be the weapon. When you breathe in, expand those lungs, your muzzle's going to naturally drop. When you exhale, it's going to naturally want to bring that muzzle up. If you can generally acknowledge to where you want to engage at the lowest point of your body's natural respiratory pause, key term, you'll be able to generally go with your body's natural system of movement and breathing to find the synergy to where you are in tune with your weapon to where you can engage. I know it seems rather mysticism, but actually, biology works. All right. So with breathing, that is a much healthy point. Now, another thing that I want to acknowledge when it comes to that is when you are aiming, all right? You are not going to be staring at your target through your sights. You are going to be acknowledging your reticle when you are gauging your target. Seems backwards, right, everybody? Well, guess what? I ain't wrong, all right? So, the thing about that is if you are at the range and you're practicing and you're training and you're getting your groups in and everything, and you generally are getting a good group, but you just can't get your group tight enough, and it seems like you're shooting around the target to where your target groups are kind of doing something like this. If we're shooting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 round groupings, if you're experiencing to where your shots are floating around your bullseye, that is because you are looking at your target and not at your sights. Think about it. The sights are where the weapon's going to shoot. The target is going to just do whatever the target's doing. May it be a deer, may it be in a survival situation to where someone breaks in your house, may it just be a piece of paper or a tin can sitting on a post in the back of a barn. That target's going to do whatever the target wants to do. The only thing that you're going to have the ability to control is the way that your weapon is acknowledging its direction. So, you focus on your reticles and you pay attention to your reticles. All right, if you have the ability to poke in and out of your vision to concentrate and unfocus on that, it'll help you to ensure that you're actually aiming to where you need to aim. But if you can put your reticle on that bullseye and focus to make sure your reticle is actually there, you will be able to properly engage that. Now, in circumstances that if you are getting grouping that are going from up here that kind of float towards the top, you are if you're laying in the prone, you're inhaling too strongly. Otherwise, you're not letting your weapon properly fall on that. It is the opposite if your shots are falling this way. If your shots are falling to the left, it's most likely the way that you are having your finger placed on the trigger, or you might have your sling or your foregrip and you're probably grabbing it at an odd angle. All right. So this also rolls into the another aspect of it is the relationship to your optic and your weapon. All right. So we're going to use some circles over here. All right. So this blue circle right here, that is your muzzle. All right. Now this blue arrow right here is the position of your reticle of your weapon. Now, you see how in a normal world we tend to keep it parallel to us, top to bottom, right? Up and down, right? That's how the weapon's zeroed, right? That's how we intend to shoot it. Well, if you want to be Captain Wonky and try to like shoot around a corner and think that you're super hot shot, and you have your weapon at like 45, 5 degree, any angle besides 0, your shots are going to be, in this case, if we just transfer this directly over to here. Let me just move this circle over here. High-tech software needs to get updated. If the weapon's relation to this, and like let's say that I am adjusting my 0 and my beating zone tends to be here, I'm going to end up with results of my rounds impacting here. That is because I am changing the axis of the sight to muzzle relation. The weapon is zeroed for that angle, so the weapon should be intended to hit its entire 0 at its desired angle. Alright, so if I properly zeroed my weapon and I'm properly shooting it at the best possible angle I can have, and I'm trying not to do some John Wick 007 stuff, shooting like canted 45 degrees, I'm going to hit what I want to hit. Otherwise, I'm just wasting money on ammo, and ammo's expensive, everybody. Alright, so that's the best information I can give you guys on how to improve that. And also stancing. Alright, if you are standing there all weak and wobbly, or you're doing a 3-gun competition, or if you're in the military or in a police role or security, and you're being trained to shoot while running, and it's like you're running, and then you stop, your body's still freaking out, you're hyperventilating, you probably haven't properly had anything to eat all day, so your fat self is freaking out. Well, your physical stature is going to be a lot more slouchy, a lot more lazy, so you're not going to be relaxed enough to properly get that. Also, sling tension and muscle strength is also a thing. You need to make sure that your the way that you're holding your weapon is basing on your bones instead of your muscles. I don't care how big your muscles are. I don't care that you're lifting pencil and donuts like your SpongeBob and you can hold that stuff up for 4 hours, or like that video from Marine Corps boot camp of that recruit holding up that piece of paper and struggling. I don't care if you can do that for 62 hours. But what happens around that 62 hour and 1 minute mark when you're sitting there for that classic 10-point buck, 600-pound deer comes across on your farmland that your family's been trying to hunt for 6th generation, comes along, and now your muscles and everything are fatigued and you're wiggling like you're scared. Make sure that you're using your bones that are literally there to strengthen your stature, in position. Alright? I hope you guys have a nice day, and always remember, treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point your weapon at anything not intended to shoot. Keep your fingers straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. Know your target, what lies beyond, and please be safe, everybody. Alright? And don't forget those important links. If they're not for you, they're most likely for someone you know. So don't be afraid to send love and talk to the people right now, because everybody's feeling a little isolated. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Welcome to Dan Doc's channel. chance.